Sad bi trebalo da smo u programu već, ja se nadam da jesmo. Čovječe, čini mi se kao da je juče izašao Shadowlands. Da, i stvarno. Baš da vidimo kako će stvari da se odviju do kraja. Da, i stvarno. Još uvijek ništa, ovo piše da počinje od prilike za tačno 1 minut. Da se zavavimo i polako da vidimo šta će da se desi. Ćao, čao. Ćao Strajo. Pa ovako velike ove stvari radimo znači isključivo na YouTube-u. Dok sve ostale druge stvari radimo na trovu. Boga mi, ovo će biti velika objava. Nemo što nam je Blizzard pripremio. Pazi ovo, brate. Kafa iz World of Warcraft šodela, da vidite. World of Warcraft. I nešto za gritkanje, ono. Da li će da vrate Artasa, da li će da povrate Deathwinga. Boga pitaj šta će sad uradi. Tako da, bit će ovo žestoko. Traju, sljedeći put kad budemo upavio, onda ćeš moći da doniraš. Ej, Zubzar, ej, Stefane, opa! Pa, sine, evo ga. Evo ga. Uhade te, bra. O, te, bra, 10 minuta. Koji kraljevi, jebote. Kao on u fazonu, za minut počinjemo i onda za minutu počinje odbrojavanje 10 minuta. Ma jede ruđava. Da imamo šta kažu ljudi na ovome, na chatu. Hvala te, bravo, spinovo, koliko gleda? Trenutno 164.000 ljudi gleda. Pa dobro, možda tajming nije baš nešto najbolje, ali okej. Društvo, šta vi mislite, kako će ovo da se odvije? Oh, fuck yeah. Boga mi, ja imam utisak da će ovo da bude baš malo napeto, čekam ovo da pustim malo World of Warcraft muzike u pozadini, ono. Ovako, čekaj, World of Warcraft. Ona moja, što kažu, ono moje što bejaše, čekaj da vidim. Kaže, INN music, ovo brate. Što volim u baš što. Čekaj, se čuje nešto ovdje? Evo ima i ovdje. Dobro, ne moram da tražim. Dobro je. Možda brzo će vreme da prođe, taman mi dok malo onako popričamo o nekim stvarima. Ok, neke moje osnovne, pazi evo to što je opalo Watch Now, bilo je 160.000, sad je na 108, 116, jebote. Ali dobro. Ovo je oživljavanje ili kraj WoW-a. Da, i ja isto tako mislim. Definitivno neće biti nešto... čekaj da vidimo ovako. Kažite mi, jel se ne čuje previše jako? Ja gledam baš onako da ga uskladim, da se dobro čuje. Da, jer kažu u World of Warcraft 2 ili tako te stvari, vidio sam da stvarno velike implementacije hoće da urade s ovom ekspanzijom, da dodaju stvari koji nikad ranije nisu dodavali. I tipa, znate, pre su dodavali recimo ono klasika, novi content, dungeon, raid, neke nove izmene na klasama, ili nova klasa ili nova rasa. Pored svega toga što planiraju da stave, oni hoće cijel neki core game-a malo da promeni u nekom drugom smeru. I mislim da bi to moglo da im pođe od ruke. Tako da možemo da kažemo da to čak može da bude nazvano World of Warcraft 2 po tim nekim stvarima. Mada sad, pitanje je to koliko su sposobni za to. Opet da ne zaboravimo da je u stvari sve to jedan deo na ovo, kako se zove. Čekaj da upadnem na Discordu kod mene. Da je to sve sad jedan deo ovog Microsofta i... ubedljivo, znači World of Warcraft, ovi momenti kad je Artac bio, brate, prosto se ne ježim života mi. Ej, Davide, sadio nikada, i ja to mislim. Peš, Warcraft, IRO, PTA. Pozdrav, čao Milutinoviću. Evo je, kataklizma. A tačno su ovdje, vidi, pazi ovo, tačno su ovdje namestili prvi, drugi, treći, četvrti, taman kad budu došli do završnog dela, ovdje, ovo su velike objave, ovo su sigurno velike objave čim su ovako nešto radili. Boga mi, živo me zanima dok ćemo da stignemo sad. Ovo je 10 ekspanzija po redu, tako? Ej, body, gdje si čovjek, gdje si živ, šima? Znači imali smo TBC, Vratodović King, imali smo Katu, MOB, Vod, Legion, BFA i ovaj, kako se zove, Shadowlands, 8 ekspanzija, sam nešto propustio čini mislim. Čekaj, TBC, Vratodović King, Kata, MOB, Vod, Legion, BFA, Shadowlands, da, 8 ekspanzije, ne računajući početak Warcrafta, vanilu. Pozdrav, čao, Azdare. Sad će vidim Kenji žestok, vidim bude Mindex. A vidim kaže, ovo je poslednja ekspanzija World of Warcrafta, hvala svima što ste sve ove godine igrali sa nama i što ste nam dali toliki novac. Mi se sada pozdravljamo, doviđenja, prijatno. Pa za šta? Pa taman da im... Ali dobro, neće, leže ovde pare, sinovi moji, leže ovde velike pare. Ne bi džabe Bill Gates kupio sve ovo. Idem da se ulipam od rakije kod Araduke u kafanu. Dovoljno sam skrdeo životu u Warcraft. Ajde Boki, vidimo se sine Bobane. Po meni najbolje da bude kao stare ekspanzije. Ako bi ja nešto najviše volio, to bi jeste oživljavanje kompletnog kontenta igrice. Znači, svaki raid, svaki dungeon koji radiš, da ti se pada taj item level za tebe, znači koji je trenutan u toj ekspanziji, razumeš? Da stari dungeone možda radiš kao nove dungeone, da Mythic Plus bude i na starim dungeonima, da možda radiš i nove raidove. Jednostavno da su radi taj scaling. Pa brate, ja mislim da ljudi ne bi znali šta pre da rade. Evo ga čuveni Vod. Ovo su zapravo momenti, početak Voda, kraj isto Pandari, kada sam ja počinio da igram na retailu. To je negdje, pa skoro polovina Warcraftovog života. Artas na Deathwangu, brate, koja fora, zamisli, sad si mi dao ideju, brate, da uradim jedan meme, čoveče, u Photoshopu kako Artas jaše Deathwanga. Vidi, bre. To da uradi, onda bi pričali kako nemaju ideju za novo, poželjavaju staro, uvijek se žalaju ti ljudi. Da, žalili bi se, ali bi igrali, brate, igrali bi se, ne rasturali bi se. Odlična ideja, Outlandere. Sad lepo da me supportujete kod Blizzarda. Dobro, trenutno po stanju gledanosti Blizzard ima 152.000 gledalca, a ja trenutno imam 20. Pa dobro je. Malo smo bolji nego prosečno. Zamisli, Borko, Scarlet Monastery na Mythic Plus. Brate, pa znaš šta, ja sam mnogo razmišljao u tim nekim pravcima. Znaš ono, ljudi se žale, vole stari kontent, ovo ono, i samo ono, oživljavi staru ekspanziju. Brate, pa daj, pusti sve bre u novu ekspanziju, jebote bre, svi vole čoveče. Ćao Popa, ćao World of Marius. Ćao ljudi. Ne, bukvalno više ne bi imao ni želje ni potrebe da, pazi, a onda bi sve zone bile žive. Onda bi, pazi, to bi terao igrače da idu, na primer, u ovaj, kako se zove, da odu u tu zonu. Nema veze što se leti pa ne možda ih vidiš. Terate da ideš, pa čak i neko ko se leve u open worldu bi to vidio. Pa recimo, glupo što sad kažem, ja bih volio da se ukine dungeon leveling. Volio bih da se ukine dungeon leveling, jeste brate brzo, quick, a leveling samo dolaze. Neka ta brzina levela ostane na open worldu. Da ljudi, ovo je MMORPG, traži interakciju s igračima, znači jednostavno uživaju su igricu, brate. I šta bi ukinuo? Fire mountove. Nema više fire mountova, gotovo. A to je sad, na primjer, glupo, jer sad će neko da kaže, brate, pa imam 500 mounta, čovječe, pa to je mnogo ovo. Slažem se. Ali neka ti fire mountovi recimo služe sa ove, kako se zove, Griffon lokacija, kad ideš od tačke A do tačke B. I recimo, ako možda uzeš mounta, da možda ga radiš po groundu i tako tim stvarima. Vraća se Artas. Pa, ja bih volio da se vrati, ali sad u zadnjem patchu je bukvalno bio, ovo je Artas. Nestao. ZZ, Davore. Ma samo da experience bude na Azerotu. Aha, ekspanzija da bude na Azerotu, meni će to biti dovoljno da se napokon vratim u taj Azerot, nisam bio tamo 7 godina. A bukvalno, brate, znači bukvalno. Battle for Azeroth, ma koliko da sam ga, brate, mrzo, voleo sam ga života, nekako... Nisam verovao da će mi nedostaje uopšte. Mislio sam Shadowlands, da ja možda, brate, sad je ubedljivo Shadowlands i nekakva ekspanzija u kojoj se ja najviše nisam baš uklopio. Jebi ga. Ovo bih da vrate Liche nazad. Svi tražimo Liche privatne servere, brate. Možda su u nekim momentima i stvore, ko zna. U suštini da bude na foru starih ekspanzija ili nešto novo da dodaju između. Pa to je ovo što sam ja upravo bio rekao, 56 sekundi, sinovi moji. Sinovi i čerke, sad će da vidimo. Postajem malo nervozan. A opasno postajem nervozan. Jeste, slažem se, BF stvarno keo. Znači, bukvalno, ekspanzija, brate. Znači, BF je ekspanzija za Shadowlands. Da, Lich nije bio majka. Purge Invasion in Database, da, moguće šta je ovo. O, pazi, sad mi stiglo. Borko je stavio, pa ne, sine, pa nema zebancija kod mene. Šta kaže, Tauri koji nas drži već, IHH za Lich. Pa jebi ga, brate, će da bude, jes da bude. Kriš se nas, u Shadowlandsu me najviše nervirao Torghast, brate, svakog. Evo ga, počinje, gotovo, ljudi. Sine, idemo. Čekaj se na ovaj propast, makar filmić može da bude dobar. Da idu pičko maternu, ja gledam šta su ovo. Da, rekli su da su na cinematiku radili više od godinu dana. Znači, ovo možda bude... Nema, oni cinematik što naprave, tu niko u filmskoj industriji ne može da uradi. Idemo još malo sa srećom, ajde. Koliko su retardirali na zapadu. Ekspanzija će da bude o Rusima i zadnji boss Putin. Nova rasa u Ukrajini, nema muški. Zamisli, brate. Okej. Boga mi, pazi ja što sam u pozoru, brate, majica. Čekaj kamericu malo da nakrivim ovako da se ja bolje vidim. Burdi Alliance, brate! Ali jebi ga, brate, igram hordu. Svi mi na hordu. Idemo full screen. Ma džabi njima treba 5 pečova, da...
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for WARCRAFT, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazakostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year.
Samo kad bi slušali taj feedback. Kažite mi, jel čujete dobro ili da pojačam još malo?
I mean, really, for Shadowlands in particular, the story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by what we've been hearing from them, and us realizing as a team that we just collectively needed to do a better job of making sure the community felt heard, and so that led us to the changes we made in 9.1.5, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems. And I think 9.1.5 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play it. And we really built our Eternity's End content update from the ground up around those principles.
What are some of the things that the community said that influenced your decisions for Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.1.5 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
Brate,
World of
Classic
Warcraft
je
has
mrtav, o
always
čemu
been
priča uvaženi?
about the world and the players that inhabit it. And we are in a lot of ways curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this Classic community formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of listening to the community and paying attention to what is a good experience for our players now. And where we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery round, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode
Pazite sad
that
jednu
we've
stvar,
seen
prije nego što krenu na ovaj deo.
built around.
Današnji
Lots
World
of,
of Warcraft, znači delimo na hardcore i casual igrača.
5 hours.
Današnji World of Warcraft živi od casual igrača. Nema više hardcore, mnogo malo. Tu su glavni igrači na osnovu kojih će World of Warcraft da opstane. To da se razumemo. Znači casual igrača.
So influence the community. You've got
Ćao,
another
Vladimire.
and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming in
No,
9.2.5. Which is
Kao,
on public
radujemo
display
se,
now.
pa dobro, ono ideja, okej.
You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Slušaj ovo.
Yeah, it was not an
Slušaj ovo.
made decision by any means, and I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to take to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different faction, or to play with the faction that they more closely identify with, even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the
Koliko je sad ovo, brate,
faction
tačno
suddenly
vidjet
come out
ćemo.
of the woodwork.
And then,
Okay,
with
World of Mario,
this
baš pogledati
cross-faction
video
groups,
i
many of them are
zanima
going to
me
be diving
mišljenje koje
into
si
something new
istakao.
that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands.
Da,
is season 4.
casual, sve
kind
su
of a
sad
remix of
vožni
the
casual.
bit of
Evo najava,
greatest
da,
hits,
pa
revisiting
pišu naslov.
all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus rotation. And we recognize this is kind of a closing chapter, a little bit of a send-off to Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what happens next, and what will come next, want to give a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft,
Evo ga, moment, ljudi.
we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans of Azeroth for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
Evo ga, sine. Ovo mora se pojača, ovo mora se pojača, ovo mora se pojača, ovo mora se pojača.
The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
to je
let
to.
the land slumber.
Da, to je to. Ostrvo. Ostrvo.
Even from our own eyes. You
Yeah,
will feel
fuck that.
our return in the waking of the land. Then you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Ne, pa ovaj straza mora da bude. Wing. Ovo je, brate, kao jest razred. Dragon, baby! Woohoo!
The world is healing,
The world is healing.
but her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
World of Warcraft Dragonflies. O, dobro, kako epski izgleda ova ikona.
Dragons!
Dragons.
This is so cool.
Wow.
No one saw it coming.
No one
Okay.
saw it coming. Carefully kept
Mike,
secret.
što kažu,
But
prediction,
seriously,
ljudi.
I mean,
Azeroth-
what did we just see there?
Healing.
The awakening
To
of the Dragon
znači
Isles,
da
the
se
return
World of Warcraft
of
sprema
dragons,
za
the
još
dawn of a new age.
mnogo, ali apsolutno
That we've seen Rathian
mnogo
searching
ekspanzija
for
koje
his father's
dolaze.
legacy, searching
Znači,
for the Dragon Isles.
wow,
There's a reason why
brate.
he hasn't been able to find them. until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of locales within the Dragon Isles.
Kaže, Balkanci rekao
the
bi
Dragon
negdje u
Isles,
Grčkoj.
as kind of
Brate,
standard for
pitao da
WoW
ne
expansion,
Balkanci,
consists
ne.
of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter
su lepe
zone that we'll get to in a
zone.
second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
Rekao god,
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy. As Azeroth himself reawakens, those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span, and each one of those has a connection to a dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
All right, you know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Drakthir race.
Yeah.
Kako rekao,
This
Draken?
is a dragon, a draconic race, but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
Jebote!
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Drakthir, you will be the Evoker class. Drakthir can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be
I
Drakthir.
klasa
And the
dolaze.
reason why only a Drakthir could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really combining the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Drakthir has, the ability to actually take flight and do an Onyxia-style strafing deep breath
Jebote,
over the
kako
battlefield,
dobro,
land on the
brate.
other side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Yes, please.
Yes,
The
please.
Evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer, and they wear male armor. We figured, you know, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those. And also probably don't need any more leather wearers.
The raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class. And so that means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58. And then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different
58.
journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what is going to be able to identify my Drakthir character?
Basically
Drak-
anything and everything. You know, skin color,
Yeah,
hair color,
bote.
jewelry, tattoos, other adornments. You can make this character
Dobro,
the
pa
expression
već
of
malo ne
your
sviđa ove
identity in
zebancije
Azeroth.
kako izgledaju,
New
brate.
zone, new class,
Yep.
new race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates. or
so
features.
System
of
updates,
course, the new expansion
to me
brings with
interesuje.
it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these deep features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that, you know, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind.
Okay.
So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems.
Slušaj ovo.
Things like our progression systems.
Tačno znam što si da
In this
kažeš.
case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at
Novi talenti
professions.
kako izgledaju.
So with the talent revamp and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
Our
I think
talents
seeing
work.
a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond. A big piece of that was some of just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way. But also, you know, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system avoids directly pitting player power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know that there's always
da
a
ga
trade-off in there.
vratiše,
And we also
majko.
understand that, you know, there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this.
No, I
You're
just
not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp. This is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft.
Ovako je bio introducing name, cinematic,
power user customization there,
revamp talenata, predstavljanje klase, rase. Ima još stvari mnogo o čemu može da se priča. Poslije ćemo da uradimo jednu kompletnu analizu, tako da kažem.
If I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth.
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
Opa.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Ja rekao nešto ozbiljnije.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can push that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
I think we left out one thing though.
Sine.
Be a Dracthyr, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons if not soaring over the lands?
Toliko su savršili sistem kraftovanja sad, znači za armor, da ćeš moći bukvalno napraviti random sword kako će da izgleda, ima statsa i sve kako hoćeš. Ali verovatno ćeš morati da ulažeš mnogo više vremena nego običan crafter.
For players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So this is a skill you learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start. And the dragon companion that you have is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This is not just a generic dragon
moćeš sve mountove da menjaš boje, da im stavljaš sve i svašta.
What do you want scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces,
žešće, brate, menjaš sedište, ovo, ono, brate, kako se ovo bude dobro.
So so the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Dracthyr class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a sense from the start. And of course, as with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you.
Dobre, ima malo za klasične ljude, bre.
Where we're going to go next. One of the all-time favorite expansions from World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
Oh, what the fuck?
The very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name. Arthas.
Jebote, dobre, sine, bre.
When my days have come to an end,
Momci, uskoro dolazi, momci.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills.
Da,
As you
naježiš
saw,
se, brate,
Wrath of the Lich
naježiš
King
se. Idi, bro.
Classic is coming this year.
Ma,
It brings
bre.
back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as
Wrath
the
of the Lich
source?
King,
That was the first expansion I
Ekspanzija,
played with my youngest son.
Indestructible,
So I can remember
Zmajevi.
on that
Brate,
platform,
vidim već
black
vraćanje
goo
subscribera
and,
na World of
chunks of
Warcraft.
ice falling off and having to repeat that battle with the Lich King. But when we finally downed him, it was such an incredible moment. He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah! So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with this expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55.
Opa, moći
You
odmah da
don't
igraš
have
sa
to have a
Death
high-level
Knightom.
character to make a Death Knight. So everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump into Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore.
Ali ja sad imam
in
jedno
Northrend,
pitanje, pošto
and I want
recimo
us to
sad u
talk
Wrathu
about
do
some
Lich
of our
King mi
favorites.
dobijamo
So for me, Grizzly
achievemente.
Hills has a
Da
very
li će ti
special place
achievementi
in my
imati
heart.
neki
The music was some of
uticaj
the best I've
na ono što
experienced
vučemo
in
iz
World of
klasika sa
Warcraft.
karakterom,
I
recimo onaj
still
koji
make my
igra,
way all the way
ili
up
će
to
se
Storm
spojiti
Peaks
sa
to
našim
try and
achievementima
find
koji
the
imamo na
time
ostalim
lost
karakterima.
prograde
Znate,
and have
dva
yet to
achievementa
I've got to
nekako...
say Dragonblight. The wide open nature of the zone,
Ili će
Wormrest
biti
Temple in the
odvojeni, malo mi
center
nema
of it,
smisla,
it's
ajde,
an
nema veze.
unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes.
Changes?
So one thing we looked at is Dungeon Finder, and it feels like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit for our community.
Okay.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now, as people have gone through the experience of going back to vanilla, rebuilding those groups, relying on each other,
Okay.
not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listen to the community and we remove that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience for them than arena teams. Also, with Wrath of the Lich King, Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were not existing when Wrath
Dobro.
launched. But also there's another side of this where we are not going to charge a real money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do that just be available in game for gold and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell batching in a sense. There's a lot of technical advancements, and it's not about the philosophy of what makes Classic
Okay.
classic and what brings people together. It's just what's the better experience, and let's not artificially restrict something that we can provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia. And we're happy to say this is one of those cases.
So Wrath, the level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession,
Zašto
so
ne
we're really
preskoči
excited
taj
about
jebeni,
that.
brate, boost
Yeah, and
bar
as we continue this road
prvih
to
mesec
Wrath,
dana,
we're going to be
jebote.
looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
Such an exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for Classic fans and taking us somewhere new with Dragonflight. We're so excited to be able to bring these adventures to you. Don't forget, there's a deep
Pa ima
dive on
boost, sad rekao
Dragonflight
žena,
where you're
brate,
going to
odmah
get
na
a
početku,
lot
samo
more
Death Knight neće
information.
moći da igra.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
The Dragonflies Deep Dive starts now. Dobro, sad idu malo dublje na info od Dragon.
Hi there, welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
We've got this great expansion,
Dobro, pazi, sad
exciting
nisu ga sad
pre-render
oni nešto
trailer
ček
that
malo
everyone
da
just
smanjimo.
watched. So let's talk about the setting for Dragonflight.
Neće,
the
ne,
Dragon
nisu ga
Isles.
baš
Dragon Isles
bukvalno
have been
ono
known for a
usrali, što
long
kažem,
time
nego
in
jednostavno
Warcraft
su
history
malo...
as a mysterious place where
Biće opet
the
prazan
dragons
svet,
came
i to je
from
to.
long ago, but we never knew
Znači,
much more than
kupuješ,
that.
brate,
We're going to
boost,
this place
sedeš u
that
brod i
is
odlaziš na
kind of the
Norden.
broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just starting to form kingdoms of their own. But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land. And when someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again.
Da se sad pravimo ludi, ali da, ovo je definitivno loš potez. Nisu to trebali da urade. Trebali su da puste ljude, da masovno krenu, razumeš, ovakvi mnogo brže. Šta će trebati 2-3 nedelje i manje, brate, da on dođe. Da se svet vidi pun, da ljudi uživaju malo ovo, brate. Pa ništa, sad će svi da furi na full server, čekat će da se hype smanji. End of story.
Dragons as we know them today were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage. What we now know as proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to
Šta vi mislite, drugari, ajde, dok je ovaj story deo ovdje, to stvarno ima mnogo da se priča, daleko toga da nije interesantno, ali mislim da će interesantnije biti da odemo po Novo 87 i saslušamo kompletnu priču. Recite mi sad, recimo, pozdrav komšu, što se nerviraš? Ćao komšu. Šta bi, zašto sam na kratko šta uslišao? Ma, ubacili su boost. Generalno, što se tiče, ajde prenemo od cinematika. Cinematik je dobar, nije loš, ali što je gore naveo, kako se zove, nisam zapamtio name. Evo, smanjio se mi. Nije Cinematics bio ono ubistveni, katastrofovan, kao što je bio svoj epski fight, znaš ono, pik padanje, ustajanje, onda ono, uuuu, nego jednostavno ovo je bilo što kažu lečenje Azerota, naznaka ljudi, neće biti loših stvari, znači nastavljamo World of Warcraft još mnogo godina unapred, što je super, vraćamo se na Azeroth, tamo gde smo... Jaradin, opa! Jebote, koliko ću da istražim. Ja ću, kunem se, brate, ja ću World of Warcraft samo da igram da bi istraživao svet. Ništa više. Znači, ništa više. U poslednje vreme šta radim u World of Warcraftu, možda sam malo prestao da streamujem i da izbacujem video klipove, zato što malo pravim pauzu, ne od Warcrafta, već od YouTube-a, jer malo se više zagraju u poslednje vreme. Idem po svetu, radim questove, sakupim artefaktove, jednostavno uživam u spoljnim stvarima umesto samom progresu igrice gde ono ne mogu da ispratim osnovne stvari, nego manje više. Dobar je bio cinematik, nije bio loš, opet je bio ono stvari posvećeni smo vama suštima. Što se tiče novog talent sistema, sviđa mi se, mnogo više nego sadašnji. Jeste malo složeniji, ali će da bude mnogo efikasniji. Sljedeća stvar, klasa, rasa, bukvalno nema šta, odlično, ovo je trebalo u Warcraftu, ovo će mnogo da izboostuje Warcraft, jer bukvalno pazi, sve te nove MMORPG igrice kao što su Guild Wars, Elder Scrolls Online, imaju nešto to unikatno, sad će i Warcraft tu unikaciju da ima sa zmajevima, a ako pričamo o zmajevima i što kaže Aore, definitivno niko nema jaču priču od Warcrafta, ali sad je trenutno to Warcraft rekao, sada ćemo naš specialitet da serviramo. A što se tiče rase, klase, generalno ovako, brate, nema šta. Čini mi se da ima malo Death Knight, Demon Huntera, tih nekih ability i tih nekih pokretnih elemenata. To ćemo tek da vidimo. Zone, ja sam susro, brate. Ja ću, brate, da iznemim ovdje. Crafting sistem, ovo, Blacksmith, kako se zove, Leatherworking, brate, već sam gotovo, znači ono ludilo. Tako da, po ome što sam čuo, neću da kažem bit će savršena i odlična, bit će dobra ekspanzija. Dobra, brate.
But there's questions, thematic questions of What does it mean to be true to your legacy?
Mada ima još stvari mi o kojima trebamo da čujemo, još stvari koje treba oni da objave, ovo je samo introduciranje, samo... Ajde, zladi jebote, nisu rekli!
That they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us.
Jer pazi sad ovako, možeš da uzmeš, da praviš sword kakav hoćeš. Znači, da će da sija žuto, naranđasto, plavo, da ćeš da ima kristal na sredini, da ćeš da ga praviš od adamantijuma ili od korijuma nekog i ono, znači, katastrofa. I, brate, što dobro. I što je još jedna dobra stvar, moći ćeš da koliko god vremena investuješ u crafting, to si veći taj neki crafter. To će, brate, da bude brutalno. Znači, stvarno brutalno. Kako si lep. Andreja Stević, hvala, brate, ono, samo no homo, brate. Biće, znači, gold, biće, sad ide pravo pitanje. Kako će Warmin? Kako će Warmin? Okej. E, sad idemo dalje. Go, ko ću da nosim. E! To.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh.
Jebote, upošli ova kineskinja.
I'm Gary. And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains. The very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores.
Waking Shores?
It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too. And
Na koga me ovo zona podsjeća, brate?
Our team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're going to get on
Da, ima. Savjetujem ti kad se bude završio stream da ga pustiš od početka jer će mnogo stvari da vidiš koje nisi vidio, koje si propustio. Stream će da ostane dostupan nakon završetka, to kao i uvek.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for War Mode.
It's free for all out there. It's going to be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach, so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the
Ima i novi klas, ima i nova klasa i nova rasa.
Of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since
Black from the veins down.
And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's going to try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground.
Dragonic, sine, Dragonic.
If it's just Rathian. Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma. And when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonfly for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonfly, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonfly have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore, but Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology. We got them.
Ovo su predaci pataka.
You should be proud.
Thank you.
Ćao, to da ovo nije loše.
It's gonna be awesome. The Onaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran Plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit. And then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a frame to view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot of the plains. and then see this giant fire.
Nova ekspanzija, sad trenutno došli smo do dela gdje pričamo o zonama.
Harpoon down the proto dragon and crash into the ground, and the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
Da, ladno radimo to klasika. Ništa nisu pričali o klasiku, samo su rekli
The centaur are these
daj za
mighty,
ovu
awesome
ekspanziju.
hunters
Ništa
that
klasiku,
back when they
brate.
first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long.
A nigde
Eventually
datuma,
they
brate,
realized
nigde
that
datuma,
first
ni za
wrong,
klasiku. Sve,
you're
pazi, sve
small. Maybe we should
2022.
stop
Sve piše
decimating
22.
these
Sada,
people.
kad? Boga
We'll
pite.
make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now,
Ljudi, imamo
dragons have
trenutno
become
40 ljudi koji nas gleda.
The centaur have come
Idemo,
so far
sere,
since
samo
then.
lagano.
And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plain, and we want to be creative with them. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely.
Da, ima i to malo nekog nagrada. Onako, neće jer sredini streama je jasno vidi da su za alijance.
And we actually
Mi
increased
ćemo
that
nagrada, aha.
It spurs you
Vada
on
bi
to
čemu,
want to
pa trebalo bi
adventure and
ono.
look through the
Mislim,
zone
sve
and
ono što su do
explore
sad
it.
rekli ima malo smisla, što su trebali da promene, ali tek su sveže najave i još ima mnogo da se priča. Evo, prvo je bilo priča, kako nosi nova ekspanzija, sad idu zone, pa pretpostavljam sad će ide do malo, sve idemo dublje i dublje da slušamo.
And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about. But now, we're going to have some folks talking about the next two zones that players are going to experience in the Dragon Isles.
Okay. Azure Spenny Taldarus.
My name is Kate. I'm Christy. I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're going to talk today about Valdrassus and the Azure Span. So
Ovo
Azure
su, brate,
Span is
mladi
gonna be
ljudi,
the
bre, mojih
third zone
godina.
that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but
zonu,
it
brate,
more.
Lich Kingu.
And I don't know if you've ever been up to the
Mi
Bay
ćemo
Area,
neutralni pa ćemo
but in the
vidjeti
morning
ga.
that
Da, upravo
fog
tako.
comes in and dips down
A
into
ček,
the redwoods,
koja je
and
nova
that
klasa?
sun
Pa ovaj
shines
kao
through. That's
Dragonik.
really what we wanted to encapsulate
Ima.
with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, but we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up to another level of elevation where you get to see the
Brate,
snow.
sviđa mi se što su uzeli i vratu do Lich King kao primjer za pravljenje nove ekspanzije, ovo što je sad rekla. Sluši šta priča, sluši pažljivo.
I know in the forest we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls.
Kako su žešći, majku im.
In the winter area. And then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest.
Da, klase Dragonika, Evoker je rasa.
We meet our second group.
A to je što brno.
It's going to be really neat to explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime is probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool up-res for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids. So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos.
Da, mnogo toga su rekli.
Buddy from the Kirin
A moći je se
and
leti.
he's going to be adventuring into Sindragos's archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises.
Jer pazite, sad će ovdje imaju puno stvari. Odakle je potekla Sindragosa, kako je nastala Sindragosa, pa onda ova, kako se zove, Onyxia, pa deo Onyxije, pa će onda biti ovaj, kako se zove, Dragon Aspect, mislim, cijela ta kosmologija zmajeva će biti predstavljena ovdje. Ovo će biti, ja mislim, najinteresantnija ekspanzija za exploring, za otkrivanje, za praćenje svih stvari u Azerotu. Znači, bukvalno best of the best.
My favorite Dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Thaldrazis, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a culmination of all of the Dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue Dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green Dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares.
Svakako.
The thing that really sold me on Thaldrazis was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across the lane. So when players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment. What an incredible place and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility.
Jer ako uporediš BFK i Shadowlands sa Legionom, sve je bukvalno isto grafika, kombat, pa čak i ability talenti. Pa to je, mislim, ne možemo tako to da gledamo. Opet ima tu drugih stvari koje menjaju, da kažem, neke stvari u igri. Oni su zadržali te sisteme. Kad kažemo nešto da je slično igranju, mi smatramo da je to sistem igranja, a ne da kažete neki prikaz kako igrati. Razumeš šta hoću da kažem?
We're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to dive off the tops of towers and swoop under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about next.
Hi, I'm Jake. I'm Andy.
Ovo je tim verovatno za stvaranje.
I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the Dragthir Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake.
Okay.
I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dragthir, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dragthir are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So Evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream,
Ma
your
dobre,
gold
samo
and your
pazi,
nurturing
ti biraš
spells,
rasu
and then you have your
koja će
bronze
da igra
magic, which is going to be
novu
more
klasu.
timey-wimey. So
Ako
you
izabereš
get to
gnoma,
heal
dobro,
them
mislim da gnom neće
faster.
da može.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation,
mali
which
dragon.
feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell, but it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft and I think is feeling really, really good.
Žešće, brate, ko da kaste Kamehametalac, što ga duže kaste, to jače udara.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above, it's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
Da,
good.
moći će skipre.
Because
Jeste,
you have
jebam,
both
evo
your
ga, evo ga.
draconic form and your humanoid form.
Evo ti,
And
bod,
the
evo.
customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me you
tell
can
us about
change
the
color.
No.
You can do a lot of magic.
Užas,
So your visage
užas.
form can have scales that are the same
Oh.
color as your Drakthir form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here.
Imaćeš novi efekat.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very
Ovo je dobro,
specific
ovaj Dragon
meaning for
Riding je
World of
dobar.
Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And
Ovo je
we're
pošto
talking
su to
about
ubacili.
something new called Dragon Riding.
And as
Whoppa.
the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes. We're aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity. We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft.
standardnog
And
World of
so
Warcraft
we wanted to come
sistema.
up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting, maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity, which really adds to the overall kind of immersion and sense of reality.
Ali dobro, znaš, to je nešto što radimo na igrici, ali gledamo i već drugi. Znaš kako ja sad ima Guild Wars 2 kad krenem da skače, prvić se, brate, ovaga, brutalica, ozbiljno.
Horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Da, moći im staviš tipove krune, menjaš sediš se, stavljaš torbe na mountove. Taj Kingstone sad mi se mnogo sviđa. To sam ja kukao, brate, da u arkadu bace.
And bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have so many new, gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get into game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
Dobro. Mislim da ovo nije baš nešto toliko bitno što se tiče UI interfejsa, ali što se tiče tavanata, da. Daj da pogledamo ovo.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share your final revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18
years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and we have better dev tools to work with. So it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen time.
So when we approached this, we wanted to create
a layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
They do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI, but do a more even more visibility for your gameplay. So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom menus, they have less head frames, and it can really open up your gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way. So we for sure updating the Griffins. They look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. We're gonna have your version as well. So let's talk about the edit mode.
We are putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. If I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center.
The most funny moment in the World of Warcraft.
Absolutely. And each of those different components will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work with. They'll be able to save it, edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it. So we really want to hear back from you.
A project that we're all excited about, that we've been collaborating a lot on, is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before. And we really started with, how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking at all those things, what we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually two trees. We have a class tree that offers different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's damage, tank, or healing.
I'll just jump in and say that I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
You have seen that a lot through most recent expansions, but not the base UI.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. You know, we want you to be able to make a lot of changes a lot of times, not necessarily have to commit the power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to lock into. And so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when we see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of us.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and please reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions and Dragonflies.
Go!
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our
well,
plans
that way,
for
okay.
professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different.
Ovaj dečko je došao kao na amatersku audiciju.
And figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders. If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
Znači neće više bude soul-bound sve što praviš,
As a
što je super.
crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably
Iskreno ti kažem, ja sam neko ko voli mnogo da ulažu u profesije, da. Recimo, kad se smorim od svega u Warcraftu, ja se bavim samo profesijama.
We're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight,
najgora
you can go
odluka
out
ikada
and
koju su doneli.
earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith, and you might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild
Zato
may
šta, drugari?
specialize in a completely different path.
Oni
This
u
means
ovom
that your
streamu
guild can
neće
have
da objave
several top
kada će
blacksmiths,
ekspanzije
and
izaći.
everybody's providing something
Nažalost.
unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of
Brate, nekako imam utisak da će to da ostave za kasnije malo, da će tipa da bude još jedan ovako meetup.
We're going to take those and we're going to put them all in the main
Nekako
city
mi
of
ovo,
Valdrakken,
ove
and,
kao
you know, you
delići
go in there
informacije,
and
samo
you
da
get to
stanemo
see
u
all
toku.
the different players
Ispravite
crafting
me
their
ako
items
grešim.
at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're going to walk into the city and you're going to see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're going to see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. There's going to be a whole new crafting area that's going to make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area.
Ovo je znači ono, čisto da znate, zombač gej, harvam Rus,
And when you go to say mine a node, you're actually going to just switch into that gear. It's going to be really great.
Žešći čini ovi crafting elementi. Ono kad šetaš ulicom iza nekog i misliš da je žensko i onda prođeš izbog i shvatiš da je muško negdje. Da se napavimo, da. To je, znači, bukvalno ono, ovo je ekspanzija, radit će se o tome i o tome i imat ćete to i to, te neke osnovne stvari. Dolazi botova klasik ove godine, da znate, zagrevajte se, mada mi je malo čudno. Hvala i vama, čao.
About the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Eto, i coming months. Šta sam rekao? Šta sam rekao? Armor. I sad kaže čao. A? To je to? O? Stani bre, čekaj bre, avo bre. What the fuck? Ja, divota, sad mi stižu od Epic Gamesa. Gdje ćeš bre? Goj? Ti, brate. Pa. Drugari, to je to. Šta da vam kažem. Dragonflies. Čekam da vidim da li će da kažu za ovo MOBA jer su rekli da će mogućiti da... Ne, nema ništa, brate. Jebote, pa nema ništa, to je to. Date, GG. Quack, quack. Nema, brate, ništa. Čekaj da upavim svetu malo da se vidimo bolje u oči. Ne, definitivno će imati još malo ovih, kako se zovu. Jebote što ne mogu ništa da povećam i da smanjim. Još uvijek će imati ovih meetupova, što znači da će definitivno biti još stvari koje ćete pričati. Ovo su malo stvari, mislim da će biti još jedan cinematic koji će da bude onako epski, jer nekako ne ide da ostanu samo na ovome. Ovo su zapravo bile samo ono malo zagrevanje, ništa više. Znači bukvalno kao, opade nam subscribe base, daj im nešto, brate, da mogu da nastave da igraju, da iščekuju i da gledaju, tako da ono. Ali da, nisu rekli ono što su trebali da kažu, ne sjećam se tačno da spomenuli su mobilnu igru i još neke stvari, ali ne, to su spomenuli za maj. Znači u maju će biti još jedan ovakav meetup. Tad u prilike smatram da će trebati da objave neke sljedeće, odnosno nove situacije, nove stvari koje će trebati izaći. Jer se meni u PvP nešto, kako će se zvati, neprofesionalno, a ovo bre gdje ode, da. Mislim, očekivao sam na kraju da će svi ono da se skupite da kažu nove ekspanzije, očekujte je u toku sljedeće godine i očekujte je tog i tog datuma na sljedećem meetupu, to je to, hvala što ste bili sa nama, doviđenja prijetno, ovo brate, doviđenja prijetno, nekako, šta znam. 2 od 10, pazi ovaj što kaže, stvarno, no apology for Shadowlands, idi bre u džavova. Uzeli ste mi 10 poena, doviđenja. GG, ovo mobile imaju, haha, smotovi kao najveće razočarenje, boost na moju 60 u klasiku. Evo ga, Mladen, gde si Mladene, kućo, stara sine. Što bi rekao moj drug Mladen, dobro. Pa ništa, znate šta, generalno zanimljiva priča, imaće puno stvari koje će trebati da se još kaže, kao što sam rekao, i ovoga, sad ide ono, spoileri, sad će na svaki sat vremena da izleći u World of Warcraft koji povijek, da li ćete bude ovako, da li ćete bude onako, da li ćete bude ovo, da li ćete bude ono, neko izbaci neki članak, to će odmah ovo ovako. Znači, sve što smo sada naučili imamo, znači, znamo koja je nova ekspanzija, znamo koje su rase i klasa, dobili smo 5 nove zone, odnosno ili 4, ne, 5 nove zone, dobili smo UI, da se zna da se UI menja, upoznali smo jako smiješnog karaktera koji se svo vreme smejao, i otprilike to je to. Iskreno, jebote koliko ovo traje. Sat vremena i 16 minuta, 16 minuta smo samo čekali da počne. Ja sam očekivao bar da će 2 sata da traje. Ali zapravo ovo nije bio BlizzCon, ovo je bilo samo jedan klasičan, običan event. Za mene lično cinematike i razočarenja ako mi je ovo trebao godinu, ne, nije to taj, definitivno nije to taj, ovo je samo upoznavanje ako možemo tako da kažem. Pa, drugari, to bi bilo to. U principu, ako se neko pita zašto mi trenutno nema na live-u, zašto trenutno ne streamujem, trenutno, znate kako, malo je lepo vreme napolju, malo više provodim vreme i sa, da kažem, spoljnim aktivnostima, tako da sam malo manje za računarom. Igranjem Warcrafta igram tek ono samo da bi ga igrao, jer čekam malo neko drugo vreme, ono, znate, malo iskuviram mjesec dana, pa se vratim ponovo, naravno, pik, ono, tamo da se uživite malo još streamovanja. Čak sam u jednom razmišljao jednom momentu da ću verovatno do kraja sada Shadowlandsa da lovim achievemente, čak sam ovdje pričao sa mojim drugarom Mladenom koji se ovdje javio, Mladene kaži čao, sa Mladenom gdje ćemo možda igramo malo roleplaya, što je nešto jako zanimljivo, mislim da bi to puno ljudi volilo da vidi. I šta bih još mogao da kažem, da, očekujte u toku sljedeće nedelje jedan video, eventualno jedan stream, kao što sam rekao, malo sam na pauzi. Da pročitam zadnje komentare pa da se generalno odjavim. Znači kada sam snimio klip gdje sam iznao svoje mišljenje o tome šta bih volio da se, a pola sam pogodio. Klasika, brate, ono što voliš, što kažu, slušaju nas, brate. Ćao, to je moj drug Mladen. Ovo je Mladen, ne. Izbacit ću, brate, jedan video klip gdje smo se valili kad smo radili biti pus. Nizgledamo vaše. Kaže, Warcraft mobile game roll, sad čitam Insta. Da, sad ćemo da lovimo malo društvene mreže. Drugari, hvala svima što ste bili ovdje, bilo ovo sjajno veče, uopštili ste i meni, bilo nas je preko 40 na live-u, što nisam očekivao. I šta još da vam kažem? ostanite u toku, svaki sljedeći stream koji budem najavljivao kao i video klip stavit ću ga na najavu, bar 1-2 dana unaprijed da možete da budete ovdje i u principu to je bilo to. Ostanite mi dobro, srećni vam praznici, želim vam srećne praznike i provedite ih lepo svi koji slavite sa vašim porodicama, a mi se vidimo u sljedećem streamu i video klipu. Ovo tvarno se sad objavljuje. Ćao drugari! Kako sam se, brate, samo smeju, moram ovo još jednom da kažem. Kakav lik. Ok, vidimo se, čao.